What are you doing? Leading up to Evil Dead Rise, once again, here are my thoughts on Evil Dead, the 2013 remake. Or is it a sequel? Like I said, this is a remake, but there are people out there thinking that this is in fact a sequel to the original Evil Dead franchise. Now, I wouldn't disagree with you if you are one of those people that think that yes, this is in fact a sequel to the original trilogy. But this movie has enough material to be a straightforward remake. They have different characters, it's the same story and all that. But I would agree at some points in this movie, I would agree that this could be a sequel. But from what Sam Raimi, Bruce Campbell, and Fede Alvarez were saying, this is basically a remake. Before I begin, this is actually a first time watch for me. Now, I watched all of the Evil Dead installments. I watched the original three, I watched the three-season TV show Ash vs. the Evil Dead, but for some reason, I just never watched this movie, and I don't know why. Maybe it's the fact that I'm just not a big fan of remakes. I feel if you're going to remake a movie that already exists just for modern audiences, why? Because they end up sucking and it gets poor reception, but I've always heard good things about this movie. Hell, I even know like three people who are fans of this series who actually have said that I've known people that say Evil Dead 2 is the best, and I actually know some people that think that this is the best of the series, which I found pretty interesting. And on a first time watch, this is one of the better remakes that I've watched. Starting out with my positives on the Evil Dead remake is that I like how they didn't replace anyone playing Ash Williams. Now, if you've never watched the original Evil Dead movies or even the Ash vs. the Evil Dead series, which I may ask, what rock are you living under? Bruce Campbell has played this popular character Ash, which has probably become one of the most iconic horror movie characters ever. And I like that the fact in this movie they didn't try to get anybody else to play him, which I honestly liked. And even Fede Alvarez and the rest of the crew on this movie, who were familiar with those original movies, even said that no one else but Bruce Campbell could play that role. And Bruce Campbell is an executive producer on there, and he's even glad that no one tried to recast him as Ashwood, and it would also piss off the fans because, like I said, I am one of those people that feel that Bruce Campbell is like the best person to play Ash, and if someone else were to play Ash, I just couldn't see it. Like someone else playing Freddy Krueger, I can't really see that. I don't see anyone else voicing Chucky in the Chucky series. Bruce Campbell is on that line where no one else could play this character. The thing I liked watching in this movie, where this character Mia, who was a heroin addict and apparently overdosed and apparently died and they had to bring her back to life. And in this movie, they bring her to this cabin and make her pour all of this heroin down this well just to get rid of it. And they're trying to keep her there, trying to get her better, not to try and do any more drugs. And I like the torment that she goes through. Like, there's scenes where she's just walking around, kind of like freaking out. And there's parts in this movie where, like, the dead cats in the basement are, like, really getting, like, really, really smelly and all that. Like, really making the place reek. She's even losing her mind, screaming like it stinks, I can't stand it. And then they give her like some medicine just to calm down. It's not drugs or anything bad. It's just like medicine doctors use on patients, and she calms down. But in this movie, you can see her torment, and then when she becomes a deadite, it kind of makes her more aggressive. Where you could kind of tell that Mia could be in control too, where she is losing her mind, but at the same time, when she comes possessed, you kind of see the torment that the Deadites are making her go through more. Like you're seeing like these things the Deadites are making her do, but you can kind of tell that she doesn't want to do it. But I have seen rumors, like I said, that Mia was actually in control as a Deadite, which I could believe those theories, but at the same time, why would she want to try and kill her brother and all of her friends? Can you explain that at least? This is probably also the most scary Evil Dead movie, which is kind of hard to say. The original movie is pretty scary, but it's not like top notch where it makes you want to crap your pants. Scary. Evil Dead 2 has scary elements, but that's more of a comedy vibe. But it has some comedy in it. But Army of Darkness is just full off slapstick comedy. But in this one, they they do not mess around, man. This movie is scary. where the Deadites are scary, the things that they say, the things that are happening in this movie, just everything from the Deadites to the setting, pretty much everything about this movie was scary. Where I was sitting there like, oh Jesus! Lord in heaven, please don't let me crap my pants again watching this movie. Speaking of the Deadites, I kind of like the new Deadites in this movie. I've actually seen some people being like, "Ah, I hate these Deadites. They're not the original." I'm like, I guess they're not great, but these ones are more scary in my opinion. There are pretty damn good ones in the rest of this series, but I feel that the Deadites in this movie way more fucking scary than we've seen in this entire franchise. Like, come on, when have you seen a Deadite cut their tongue in half with a knife and just scraping off their face with a piece of glass? When have we ever seen a Deadite do that? What? Oh, in some of the other movies. Oh, I think the practical effects are at their best in the series as well, where the practical effects in the original two movies were really good. There was some good practical effects in Army of Darkness, but there was no Carnage Candy. What the fuck, Sam Raimi? But in this one, they kick it up. They knew fans of this franchise wanted more gore, more action. They took all the gore from the first and second movie, and they bring it all the way up to 27. Why 27? I don't fucking know. But the gore and the effects in this movie are top notch. I am not a big fan of CGI. I think it looks horrible, and that's the thing that they've been doing with these modern horror movie remakes, which a bigger budget and CGI doesn't make a better movie. Well, there's some people it does, and who the fuck is for those people, right? But I love the practical effects and the effects in this movie as well. Like these effects make you want to like squirm in your seat. There's this one part with this Eric character. He's getting slowly stabbed with a syringe like through his glasses, and then it goes through there. There's a scene where he takes out the needle from the syringe from his fucking eye. That I hate needles. I cannot stand needles, and that made me literally like freak out. I was like, oh god, I fucking hate it. On to my mixed aspects of this movie. The opening of this movie. Now, by all means, I don't hate it. It is a very creative way to open your movie and kind of get the audience's attention in this movie, realize that they're actually watching a more serious Evil Dead movie now. But to me, I feel the opening of this movie could just be cut out and it would make no difference to the movie. In the opening of this movie, there's a girl walking through the woods and then these two guys tackle her down and knock her out and drag her to this basement. No, it's not going where you think it is. But then she's tied up and then they take off the bag and it shows that the dad is there. And there's also this witch lady and she has the Necronomicon looking through the pages and they're trying to free her from the evil. And then the dad pours like gasoline on top of her head and then lights her on fire, then shoots her. That's it. I feel that the opening of this movie could just be cut out of this movie and it would make no difference to the film whatsoever. But then I honestly don't know why it's there. I'm guessing just to hook the audience, what? Audience's attention, but it doesn't need to be there. Like there's no mention of it and there's like nothing that they talk about there. There is like a scene where when they go down in the basement, there's a bunch of dead cats. There's the Necronomicon wrapped up in the garbage bag and a barbed wire and a shotgun. Like I said, if you cut that out, then when the characters find it could just leave to the viewer's imagination why it got there. I feel the opening scene there is just to lead up to that one single scene where they find all that stuff, but it doesn't need to be there. I do get some enjoyment from that opening. It is kind of fun, and it kind of, like I said, hooks your attention to this movie. That's the only good part about it. But at the same time, it could just be cut out, and it would not make a fucking difference. Kind of another issue that I have with the original, but this is a mixed aspect, and that is the characters. I don't think these characters are very memorable. There is David, there's Eric and Mia, and then there's the black chick and David's girlfriend. And that's it. I do like the character of Mia though. Like I said, you kind of see her torment throughout this movie, and you kind of like her. And if you understand kind of her mood from being taken away from the drugs, you kind of understand why she's acting that way. If you've been around people who done drugs, I bet you could understand her pain, which I'm not trying to sound like an asshole and be like, oh yeah, I've seen people on drugs, I've done drugs and all that. No, I'm not being that person. But I do like the character Mia, and I do kind of like the relationship between her and David, where there's more character development there, where you learn that David left her and Mia and her mother because she was ill, and so David left, and Mia was there all by herself just to take care of her, which I kind of wish they did more, and kind of led to that's why Mia started doing heroin, but that they don't do anything about that. And Eric, he's the guy that starts all this mess, but I kind of liked him though. He takes a hell of a beating in this movie, but like I said, he is the dumbass that started all this mess and got everyone killed. But other than that, none of the characters are memorable, and none of the characters really grab my attention except for Mia and David. My negatives. This could be a nitpick if you really want to take it this way, but there is a part in this movie where Mia was in fact a deadite in this movie where she got possessed and she started doing a lot of weird things. But there's a part in this movie where David takes her out of the basement, buries her, lets her die, and then brings her back up and uses two big ass syringes and wraps them up in wire connected to a car battery or just a battery and stabs her like right in the heart and tries to jump her back to life. It works, and she's not a deadite anymore. What? It's never been a thing in this franchise, and I honestly don't know why that's a thing. Just like, oh, if you want to save them, you gotta like knock them out and then bury them and then just use a car battery and syringes to bring them back to life. That has never, ever been a thing in this franchise, and it only exists here. And then when she comes back to life, she is perfectly fine, like not a fucking scratch on her. Where there's a part where she boils her skin in the fucking bathroom in a shower because she. It's kind of hard to explain. All you need to know is that she boils her skin in the bathroom. And then she cut her tongue in half with a knife. And then when she's come back to life, she's perfectly fine. Like, not a scratch. Are you meaning to tell me if someone gets possessed and then, say, loses their arm and then comes back to life, would they get their arm back? I fucking doubt it. Well, guys, I really like this movie. This was actually a pretty big surprise to me. I've only heard pretty good things on this movie, but I was never a big fan I'm not a big fan of remakes, and I don't really understand them, but this is one of few remakes that I actually really liked and I would recommend to people. So this is another Evil Dead movie where I would recommend that you go out and buy it. What do you guys think of Evil Dead the remake or Evil Dead another movie, whatever the hell you want to call it? Let me know in the comments below and we will talk about it, and leave me your thoughts on this movie if you loved it or hated it. And if you liked this video, like it. If you loved it, subscribe and hit the bell notification so you will get notified for my latest videos and my reviews of the 3 seasons of Ash vs. the Evil Dead. But until my next video, take care.